Hey, two picklers, Tony coming to you from Groveview Park here in Sanford, Florida. What I want to talk about today is where you stand when you serve and where you stand when you return in terms of left to right in the box. So let's talk about that for a minute. I'm a left-handed player, and I like my forehand. So what I'm going to do when I serve is I'm going to serve from more over to the right in the box because I want to expose my forehand and I want most of the shots to come to my forehand and minimize the area that can come to my backhand. Why? Because I'd rather take a forehand than a backhand. So I'm going to stand here on the serve on this side. Now, if I'm serving from this side, if I'm serving from the left side of the court and I want my forehand to have most of the coverage, what I'll do is I'll actually serve from closer to the middle of the court or the middle of the midline. Serve from here. Now my forehand covers most of the court. If I were to serve from here, for instance, now my backhand covers half and my forehand covers half. And if I serve from here, now my backhand covers most of the court. Let's talk a little bit also about stacking and where you stand on a serve during a stack. What I see people sometimes during a stack situation is they stand too far from the middle of the court. When Jill and I are playing in a stack position or starting in a stack position and serve, Jill will serve from here and then slide over to her left to cover that side, and I cover the right side of the court. What I see happen sometimes in the stack situation is where the server will actually serve from here. So like if Jill were to serve from here, let's say, and then after her serve, she has to get all the way over there. That's a lot of distance to cover. It's unnecessary. So if Jill actually stands at the line or next to the line before she serves, now she has less ground to cover, and it's an easier move for her to make. Another mistake I see in stacking is where the non-server will stand all the way over here, way off the court. There's really no reason for that unless you're trying to protect one side or the other side. But if you're trying to get over to the middle, in other words, if you're going to want to be here after the serve is completed, then just stay here while the server is serving. Unless the serve needs a lot more space than that, usually the server doesn't need more space than 2-3 feet from their body to serve. So there's really no reason to stand here or even off the court during the serve and then have to move into position. The less movement, the better, in order to get ready for the point. Let's talk a little bit about the returner's position at the beginning of the point prior to the serve. As a returner, you can stand wherever you want to return the ball. In another video, we talked about how far back the returner should stand in connection with receiving the serve. In this video, what I want to talk about a little more is left to right positioning of the returner before receiving the serve. So if you're a left-handed player and you want your forehand to receive most of the serves or to handle most of the serves, then you're going to stand a little more to your right, making the forehand or exposing the forehand to more of the court. If you're right-handed, you'll stand on the other side and expose your forehand to most of the court. So what you're more comfortable hitting, the forehand or the backhand, will dictate where you should stand left to right in the return box prior to the serve. One last point I want to talk about in terms of court position on the return team prior to the serve is the positioning of the person up at the no volley zone. In other words, the non-returners. So my partner is returning and I'm up here at the no volley zone during the serve. I want you to focus on two things as the non-returner during the serve. I want you to think about being on the no volley zone line. So I want you to be all the way up on the no volley zone line before the serve. And I also want you to think of where you are right to left on the court. A lot of times what I see players doing is I see players standing over here. So if I stand over here prior to the serve, now I have to move into position after the serve to be ready for the point. That's unnecessary motion. Standing over here also makes it harder for me to cover any middle shots that may come from the serving team. There's a link below to another video that we did about the importance of the player at the no volley zone line covering the third shot from the service team that may come down the middle. So if I'm standing over here, I can't cover that shot anymore. So think in terms of left to right. You don't want to be standing all the way over here prior to the serve. Where you want to be is you want to be here. And in fact, you want to be a little bit closer to the middle so that you can cover that middle shot. If your partner returns the ball at a sharp angle cross court so that there's a down the line shot, at that point, now you can move over to cover that shot. But most returns are hit down the middle. And so you're better off being here or a little bit closer to the middle so you can cover that shot. So next time you play, think of your service location, in other words, where you're serving from, as a strategic component of the point, and adjust where you're starting your serve from based on how you want the point to play out, and adjust your starting position for the serve accordingly. In the stacks, when Jill and I are partner here would be bye-bye paddle.